السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. Welcome back to the Quran weekly session. Inshallah, we'll start with a new surah today. So far we have covered I think about 8 surahs and then Surah Al-Fatiha. So main purpose being we just want to make the recitation of the last 10 surahs of the Quran as well as Surah Fatiha as close to perfect as we can possibly get. And inshallah, it's a lifelong journey, so keep get you started on a good path, and after that, inshallah, you can keep improving on that. Okay, so today we're going to do Li'ila Quraysh, Surah Quraysh, and then we will do the revision of all the rest of the surahs that we've covered so far. So we will have one more surah left before we're done with the last 10 surahs, inshallah. So my goal is to have all of you memorize all of the these 10 surahs as well as Surah Al-Fatiha, and obviously inshallah we will encourage other surahs to be memorized as well. Okay, so without further ado, I'll go ahead and have the recitation of Surah Al-Quraysh.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين فذلك الذي يدع اليتيم ولا يحض على طعام المسكين فويل للمصلين الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين هم يراءون ويمنعون الماعون. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل يا أيها الكافرون لا أعبد ما تعبدون ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد ولا أنا عابد ما عبدتم ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد لكم دينكم ولي دين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره إنه كان توابا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب سيصلى نارا ذات لهب وامرأته حمالة الحطب في جيدها حبل من مسد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس.
So we just listened to Sheikh Saad Al-Ghamidi recite the last 8 surahs or 9 surahs if you include today's surah, which is Ila fi Quraysh. So this is the surah that we're going to cover today, and then inshallah we will do the revision of the rest of them just like we did the last week. Okay, inshallah, and hopefully you're having time to practice this on your own as well. Okay, so أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف. Okay, so I'm gonna have first one in line, Ibrahim and Sarah. Go ahead and read that.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف.
MashaAllah, very good. Sadaqallah. MashaAllah, that's very good. Is there anybody else with you who wants to recite?
Yes.
No. Okay, go ahead.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف.
MashaAllah. Anybody else?
One more person.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, Bismillah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف.
MashaAllah, Jazakallah khair.
صدق الله العظيم.
Sadaqallahu al-Azim. Alright, so I'll have the next person recite, inshallah. Javed Bhai, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف.
MashaAllah. Jazakallah khair. I see your recitation is improving. MashaAllah, you must be practicing. Jazakallah khair. Go to the next person over. Shahid.
السلام عليكم.
Alaikum assalam.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمن من خوف
وآمنهم من خوف.
وآمنهم من خوف.
MashaAllah. Jazakallah khair. So, inshallah, we will do the revision now. So the way we were going to do is, inshallah, we'll start with Surah An-Nas. And I know all of you know how to read it. I just want to make sure that we try to, follow the rules of tajweed that we have learned so far and, apply them to the recitation. Okay. So, Shahid Bhai, you can go ahead.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس.
Okay, Jazakallah. I'm going to read one verse and then you recite after me, okay? We're going to practice it that way. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
قل أعوذ برب الناس
قل أعوذ برب الناس
ملك الناس
ملك الناس
إله الناس
إله الناس
من شر الوسواس الخناس
من شر الوسواس الخناس.
So there is a gunna there. من شر الوسواس الخناس
من شر الوسواس الخناس
الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس
الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس
من الجنة والناس
من الجنة والناس
من الجنة
من الجنة
والناس
والناس.
Jazakallah khair. Okay, Javed Bhai, it's your turn.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس.
Jazakallah khair. Very good. Okay, so we're gonna move to Ibrahim and Sarah and the third person. So go ahead and read Qul A'udhu Birabbin Nas, all three of you. You have to unmute yourself first.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان
الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس صدق الله العظيم.
Shabash. Next one.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس صدق الله العظيم.
صدق الله العظيم. Next one, please.
Could you wait for a second? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في الناس من الجنة والناس.
جزاك الله خير.
صدق الله.
Pardon me. I'm just gonna play the.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس.
صدق الله العظيم. Now, I just want to share with you the Tafsir ibn Kathir that I've emailed all of you, and I've posted the link to it on the Facebook page. Plug in my microphone so you can hear me better. So this is a PDF version of the Mukhtasar or the abridged version of Tafsir ibn Kathir, which is good for us to, and it's translated into English obviously. This is good for us to get some really good information about the surah that we are studying. Sorry, I skipped over the one that I wanted to show you. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Okay, so this is Surah An-Nas that we just read. So it's important for us to understand, the content, not only the meaning and translation of the Quran, the surah that we are studying, also the context in which it was revealed, what are the benefits of the surah, and all that kind of information. That is part and parcel of studying the Quran in itself. So I know we're studying how to recite it properly with tajweed rules, and make sure that we don't make mistakes within the recitation itself, and the pronunciation of each letter properly, and so on. But that is just one aspect of it. Okay, the Quran was revealed in the Arabic language, so it behooves us, it's important for us to try our best to learn as much Arabic as we possibly can to understand the Quran in its own Arabic language. Okay, and that is one of the goals I have, is to get everybody that is in this class and anybody I come in contact with to relay this message that it's not complete until you learn some Arabic. So I'm not saying you should be able to speak Arabic or understand whatever you read in Arabic. No, you don't really need to do all of that, because we're not from countries where our mother tongue is not Arabic and so on. So it's not required that we understand everything, but we should understand enough to be able to appreciate the Quran. This is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our creator, to understand it in its original language as much as possible. Because if you pick up 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different translations of the Quran in the same language, in English or in Urdu or in any other language, they will all have different words and different meanings that the translator tried to derive from the Arabic. Okay, and it's based on his or her understanding of the Arabic language at that point, right? So that is not the way to understand the supreme message that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator, sent to every human being after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, so we have to really understand it in its original language. And I mean, just like we study English because we live in North America, or so we can communicate better with the people, we can work better, we can study better and whatnot. And it's not our mother tongue. Most of us, our mother tongue is not English, but we are speaking in English because of the necessity. We realize that if we don't speak English, there's not a whole lot we can do in terms of work and studying and getting ahead in this life. At the same time, it's not Arabic is not our mother tongue, but it's important for us, for our life after this life, after death, to be able to have understood the message of the Quran, what the Prophet ﷺ taught in his ahadith and so on. So enough Arabic to understand the Quran in its original Arabic is, in my opinion, I think it's mandatory to understand that much Arabic. But I mean, obviously, everybody has different capabilities. So we strive with our capabilities to understand as much as we possibly can, and the rest Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive us for, and He will count us amongst the people uh, who tried their best to understand His message and follow it. So recitation is one aspect. Understanding the meanings of the revelation is another aspect. Understanding the context of why the surah was revealed, where it was revealed, how it was revealed is another aspect. And then there is another aspect, which is trying to implement that into your actions, right? So what you learn from this surah, how can you implement in your actions what it is that you need to implement in your actions? And not only actions of the limbs, meaning that acting it out, like reading it and understanding it, and if it says to avoid something, to avoid it, and if it says to do something, to do it. But also believing in your heart is also another aspect of the understanding, right? So you have the belief of the you have to understand that you have to believe that these are the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and what they deliver is the um, is is the truth, and it is for our betterment in this life and in the next life. Yeah, nobody can really translate the words of Allah. You can say that it has a close meaning or approximate meaning in English or in Urdu or in whatever language. But obviously, even if we, just imagine if we tell a joke in Urdu, you can almost never can you translate it into English without losing its meaning. Okay, so you have you have so many examples. Poetry you can't translate from one language to another. So how can you translate Quran from one language to another? You can try to give some parts of the meanings, but it loses a lot. Okay, so I mean, there's this famous saying, "Lost in translation." So there's a lot of stuff that gets lost in the translation. So even if the translator is really good, still it doesn't convey all the meanings. Okay. So having said that, we have we have to strive as much as we can. So Qul A'udhu bi Rabbin Nas, this Surah An-Nas, there is all this tafsir that has been translated into English that we can learn, and then there are words that we can learn from the Arabic language that are also in the remember I had shown you the vocabulary of the Quran. So if you if you have this PDF, if you have this document, it will help you understand some relevant words that are present in the Quran all over the place. In other words, right? So you have um, some very common words that appear literally on every page in the Quran, pretty much because of the nature of those words, right? Like qul and or qala or alladhi or hada. And these things, these obviously they are foreign to us because we don't speak Arabic, but they are part and parcel of understanding the Quran. So once we do our best to, some of these words we may just have to memorize to just say, okay, well, qabl, ba'd, fawq, taht, what are all these, what does it mean? So once we memorize them, it becomes our own vocabulary to rely upon. And then the other resource I had shared with you was the online class that you can take from Islamic Online University, where you can learn or start on your journey of learning the Arabic of the Quran. So I had showed you, I think in one of the sessions before, I had shown you the Arabic of the Quran video. I can show you real quick again. Let's see. I think I don't have it on here right now, but I can show you online. I'm excited about this because this is available for free for everybody. Okay. It's just going to take a minute here. Navigate to the place where I want to go. Okay. And videos and audios are available online.
Islamic knowledge at basically little or no cost. Now, Alhamdulillah, IOU has eclipsed the 150,000 mark in terms of the number of its registered students. And we hope that IOU will continue to benefit all important aspects of Muslim. And yet they cannot be understood without knowing Arabic. And every act that is also essential prerequisite to perform obligation easy, because Imam Shafi narrated Kitabul La Rayba Fi Hudal lil Muttaqin. Right? This message is open to those who have taqwa. So if you open your heart to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's certainly possible. It's very possible. In fact, it's easy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it easy for those who have taqwa, who have that connection. So that He makes it easy, inshallah. So for those who want to go towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, want to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger, sallallahu Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy. Make this obligation easy, because Imam Shafi narrated that this is obligatory. Another scholar, Sheikh Ibn Taymiyyah, says the following: the Arabic language is part of the deen, part of the religion, and knowing it is obligatory. This is because the ability to understand the Quran and the Sunnah is obligatory in every Muslim. And yet they cannot be understood without knowing Arabic. And every act that is also essential prerequisite to perform an obligatory act is also obligatory. So here, Sheikh Ibn...
Well, that was just a quick preview of that. You can actually sign up and get it, and this is completely free. So I encourage all of you, in addition to attending this class, you should sign up for the this one here, okay, Islamic Online University. There's this free registration. Everything's completely free, and you just basically pick the courses that you want to study. So probably one of the first ones you want to study is this one. There's also a course for absolute beginners, like you have no idea what Arabic is, which I think this class is past that. This Arabic made easy, reading and writing, right? So if you want to try it out, you can try it out, but this is very, very rudimentary in my mind. But all of those classes are available completely free of cost. So I think everybody who's serious about learning the Quran, learning their religion, needs to sign up to this or something similar to it, right? There's things available in Urdu. If Urdu is your preferred language, you can understand it better than English. You can do that in Urdu as well. But living in North America, I think this is one of the easier options for us. Okay. All right. So I encourage you to read from the Tafsir Ibn Kathir, some translation, translation, as well as the some reasoning behind how and when it was revealed, some history. It's not much. It's only a couple of pages. Obviously, you can, if you pick up the actual Tafsir Ibn Kathir, you will see there is a lot more pages, a lot more detail, a lot more depth to this. Okay. Yeah, that's the reason why. I mean, most of our ancestors from India and Pakistan, this has been the problem, where we really haven't understood Arabic, and we just go on and pray, and we go and make dua and read Quran, but we don't understand a word. It's almost like a parrot just repeating after whatever we were taught. And sometimes it's shocking to see that people are reading things completely wrong, and they expect the dua to be answered. They expect reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and inshallah they will get the reward. But the problem is, if they read it completely wrong, then the meaning is also reversed or made incorrect, or it makes no sense or something, right? So it's important for us to learn a little, but learn it with quality, right? We don't have to learn like every single verse of the Quran and what it means, but we should learn enough. Like, that's why the aim of the last 10 surahs. So we learn it well enough to recite it properly, understand the meanings and the context in which it was revealed, and try and understand it in its original Arabic. So when we pray in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we have this khushu' in the salah, so you are more focused in your prayer. Yeah, basic Arabic, when you are in any Arab country, including Saudi Arabia, is slightly different from, because the way to speak it is like faster, and more of the modern Arabic words are included in it. But if you get down to it, like if you just speak, if you just learn the classical Arabic or what the Quran is in, then if you just know that and you went on the street, they will they will be a little bit shocked if you try and speak like that, and but they will still understand it because it's the same Arabic. Okay, so it will be because somebody's trying to, and some people maybe, it may be hard for them to understand, especially if they didn't go to school or something. They will just not understand what you're saying because first of all, your accent may be different, and then they're not used to hearing it the way you are speaking. And when I first went to Saudi Arabia, like a long time ago, there I tried that, right? And little boys, they would be like laughing because they'll be like, "What are you saying? We don't understand." And then you talk to somebody who is older, and they will respect it. They will say, "Okay, you are speaking Fusha." Fusha is like classical Arabic, right? So they will praise it. They will say, "Yes, that we have lost that," but they still understand it. Okay, so our goal is not to speak Arabic in the marketplace or whatever, because that's not really helpful for our understanding of the Quran. Yeah, they do understand the Quran mainly because they have studied it, right? They went to the madrasa, they went to their sheikh to study the Quran. And the Quran is also specially made easy by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay. Yeah, because they live in Saudi Arabia, right? If you live in Saudi Arabia or if you live in other Arab countries, then you obviously, just like here, Vietnamese and Koreans and stuff, they speak perfect English here, you know. So it's no surprise. Even somebody was joking that it's you know even the kids here know how to speak English, obviously, because they grow up here, right? So if you go to any country where they speak that language, then obviously you have to work, you have to do um, business, you have to interact, and you have to yeah, if you live there longer, then obviously you would, inshallah, pick up more Arabic. But it's more like and even the Arabic that normally foreigners who are working over there, they won't even pick up that much Arabic because they interact with fellow Pakistanis or fellow Americans or whatever, right? But if you interact with the Arabs, then obviously you will learn how to speak it in their way and so on. But our goal is to understand Arabic enough so we understand the Quran, and that is the most beautiful thing, right? And it is made, like I said, it's made really, really easy, super easy to understand the Quran, because that Arabic has to be understood by as many people as possible. So Allah has made it really easy. So that's why a little bit of effort we put, and it will go a long way, inshallah. Okay, so I encourage you guys to do that. Yeah, that is true. I mean, people learn the Quran all over the place in those countries. Here, it's a little bit rare, but even here, if you go to the masjids, they have schools. Like I live across a masjid where there is a Islamic school, Quran school there. Lots of kids there, really little kids, like 7, 8 years old or 10 years old, and they are memorizing the Quran. They're reciting it really beautiful. The recitation is become really, really easy nowadays because there is a lot of material available, audio, video, through the different TV channels and so on. So it is very, very common to hear really good recitation of the Quran even from young kids. Mainly because it's so readily available now, right? So uh, there is no excuse. We should spend the time and understand, try to get as much knowledge as possible, and with understanding, obviously, and then putting that in practice. And another aspect I forgot to mention was one of the more important aspects, You have to understand it, you have to believe in it, you have to recite it properly, and you have to act on it with your limbs as well as with your heart. Action of the heart is your belief, and then you have to also convey that to others. Okay, you can't just learn it yourself and not convey it. You do have to convey it to others. That way, that is the haqq, or the right of the knowledge that you gained. Okay, and this is the knowledge that that is so amazing that one of the first lesson sessions we did, we were looking at our correcting our intentions, that we're doing this only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of the narrations from the Prophet ﷺ, translated into English, close meaning is that the best of people are those who learn the Quran and teach it. Okay, so inshallah, we're doing this to be counted amongst the best of people, because we're learning the Quran and we're sharing it with others. Yeah, this is our jihad, to be able to fight our nafs and devote enough time, put the discipline in our life to learn the Quran and to practice it. Yeah, the Quran is separate from everything else, right? As long as they read the Quran properly and they recite the Quran, we're learning how to recite and read. So we can learn it from anybody, from Hanafi, from Shafi'i, from whatever, right? Because it's reading. And there are multiple ways of reading the Quran as well. We haven't gotten into that, but reading the Quran is, you can learn it from various different places. Obviously, you have to make sure that they are teaching the right recitation. They're not, if the teacher himself or herself is reading it incorrectly, there are many cases where the teachers also don't know, so they teach in ways that are incorrect. So the person ends up studying, incorrect way of recitation. Well, that's just recitation. But when you go to learn more, like the tafsir, or the meanings of the Quran, then you have to make sure that you get it from the right source also. You don't want to go to Ahmadiyya or Qadiani sources or Shia sources. That way you get the wrong understanding. And may Allah keep us all guided, and guide all our Muslim brothers and sisters, regardless of what their origin is or whatever. But we have to protect ourselves to make sure that we get our recitation, understanding, and everything from the right sources. So you have to always ask, where is the source of this knowledge? Who's teaching it? Research it a little bit, find out if you're getting into the right school or right teacher. Otherwise, it's very easy to become misguided by following the wrong teacher, right? Or following the wrong school of thought or something like that, right? So you have to find out whether it's from the Quran and Sunnah, whether it's agreed upon by most scholars. If it's not something that is known to scholars, or if it's not something that is mainstream Islam, you can get into a deviated version, and which is not good. Okay, so inshallah, that is my message, and keep practicing. Inshallah, we can go ahead and end the session. And next weekend I will be traveling, so we may not have a class next weekend. If we do, I will email and I will post it on the Facebook page if we do have a class. Okay, so inshallah, let me see. And if you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask. Inshallah, pray for me, and everybody pray for me. So inshallah, subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin, wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Okay, inshallah, we'll connect next week or the weekend after that. Okay, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Barakallahu feek.